The adverse effects of climate change are already being experienced in Guyana. Since the 1960s, the country has observed increases in temperature, sea level, more intense rainfall, and dry weather. More recently, Guyana suffered from an unprecedented nationwide flooding. This climate event affected over 20,000 farmers and 60% of our GDP. Building systems that protect against climate change and biodiversity loss is key to Guyana's prosperity, and the Low Carbon Development Strategy, LCDS 2030, does exactly this. Specifically, the LCDS will address environmental damage and loss through climate adaptation and resilience. This means building climate-resilient agriculture systems, developing climate risk assessment and insurance, enhancing sea defense, expanding mangrove restoration, strengthening drainage and irrigation systems, and supporting public health adaptation to climate change. Be part of LCDS 2030 and share in the vision of a global model for environmental integrity, one that assures thriving economic and social development, all within a low-carbon pathway.
This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Thursday, the 9th day of June in the year 2022. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Classes at the new Campbellville Secondary School on Sheriff Street here in Georgetown were brought to an early end today, following a number of gang-related incidents which involved students of the school and persons who do not attend the school. The police and emergency services were called to the school this afternoon after students from different Form 3 classes became involved in issuing threats against each other. Students who were armed with bricks and pieces of wood were seen leaving the school compound and walking along Sheriff Street and surrounding areas, ignoring their teachers' calls to return to the school. The situation became chaotic as persons who are suspected to be gang members were seen running into the schoolyard, causing confusion. In an effort to de-escalate the situation, a decision was made today to bring an early end to classes at the school. Ministry of Education Public Relations Officer Myrtle Halley visited the school and reported that there were no widespread injuries, as only one child was seen with bruises. Mr. Halley said the Ministry of Education has a zero-tolerance policy against violence and will be taking additional steps to address the concerns.
Well, the message from the Ministry of Education has always been that we have a zero tolerance towards violence. This has been said many times by the Minister of Education herself, and that position will not change.
The Education Ministry's Public Relations Officer said parents will have to be engaged to address the situation, since the teachers and the Education Ministry cannot do it alone.
At this time, we just want parents and guardians especially to assist in curbing these activities and hopefully preventing them altogether, because what we're finding is that a lot of these children who are involved in this type of activity, they lack the necessary parental involvement and guidance. So though these incidents might be occurring in school, the genesis is not within the school environment. So we're calling on all parents to play a deeper role in terms of how they bring up their children, the type of guidance they provide to their children, and also to encourage them to not to be influenced by their colleagues to get involved in these type of activities which would not benefit them in the future.
Other Ministry of Education officials visited the school today, and police investigators have launched a probe. Additional security measures are expected to be put in place at the new Campbellville Secondary School. The Ministry of Education is concerned about the growing trend of gang-related incidents in many of the city's high schools. This afternoon, the Minister of Education, Priya Manikchand, met with teachers of another high school after concerns were raised at that school about gang-related issues. One Education Ministry official said parents need to play a bigger role in the school lives of their children and do additional supervision when the children are at home and check their bags before they leave their homes for school. More news coming up in just a moment.
How fast is fiber? Think fast. GTT Fiber has 3 packages with download speeds of 50, 100, and 150 megabits per second. That's fast enough to stream movies and music, to chat with Gran and Fran, to study, and more. What would you do? Upgrade to GTT Fiber today and don't get left behind tomorrow.
Doors and windows, Republic. Rooms and more, Republic. A brand new rug on the floor. Come to Republic, come to Republic. Whatever you need, you got it. Come through and get your mortgage. Live the dream with Republic.
95 to 100% financing, 50% waiver of negotiation fees, plus one lucky person gets their mortgage paid in full. Turn someday into today. Talk to Republic Bank about your low-cost mortgage today.
Building cement, cement board, and sheetrock are now zero rated, following an order signed on May 17, 2022 by Senior Minister within the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh. The zero-rated status enables suppliers to reclaim any VAT paid at the time the order was issued, while also ensuring that these materials are sold to consumers VAT-free. VAT-free. For more information, contact GRA's Tax Advisory Services section on 227-6060 extension 8000. Check out our YouTube channel or visit us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn to learn more.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
One day after teachers of the large secondary school staged a walkout over classroom gangs and threats being made against them, the police were called into the school today after an air gun was found in the bag of a male student of the school. The Ministry of Education has confirmed the discovery and has indicated that police investigators are now handling the matter. While air guns are usually used for hunting, pest control, and recreational shooting, it is also considered a deadly weapon. Teachers of the school decided this morning to randomly search the bags of students, and it was during one of those searches that a weapon was discovered in the student's bag. The police and the boy's parents were immediately contacted. News source understands that the boy, who is a grade 11 student currently sitting the CXC examinations, should not have been in school today, since CXC students are only expected to be at the school on the day of their exams. During the protest yesterday, teachers of the school expressed concern for their safety and the safety of other students, as they complained about many of the students being members of gangs and students from other schools invading the school premises for confrontations. Many of the teachers also complained about being threatened by some students. They said their calls for the education department to get more involved in the situation appear to have fallen on deaf ears. The Guyana Teachers Union has expressed its worry of the problem at the large secondary school and other schools in the city. The GTU General Secretary Coretta MacDonald said there is now clearly a need for a beefing up of security at the schools. Police investigators in Region 7 are probing the murder of a mining camp chef at Peruni Landing. The woman has been identified as Miriam Edwards. It is suspected that she was murdered during a robbery at the mining camp and her body dumped overboard. As the robbers escaped from the scene, one of them was attacked by miners in the area and tied up as the police was summoned. The suspect was badly beaten by some of the miners, including foreign miners who operate in the area. Once police arrived at the scene, the tied-up suspect was handed over to the investigators. The crime chief, Wendell Blanham, said a full investigation is underway, and a team of crime sleuths have been dispatched to the area to be part of the probe. The International Court of Justice has informed the Guyana government that Venezuela has joined the border case before the court by submitting preliminary objections to the admissibility of the case before the International Court regarding the 1899 arbitral award. Venezuela had previously said it does not recognize the court's jurisdiction and will not take part in the proceedings, but the court later ruled that it has jurisdiction to hear the matter. Caracas has long said it prefers that the matter be addressed through dialogue with Guyana, even as Guyana accused Venezuela of re-engaging in intimidation tactics. In a statement last evening, the Guyana Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it's observing that Venezuela had not previously recognized the jurisdiction of the court to consider the case. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation notes that by submitting an objection of this advanced stage of the proceedings before the court, the Venezuelan government is patently engaging in an effort to delay the court's final judgment on the merits of the case. The ministry said it recognizes that the rules of procedures of the ICJ allow for Venezuela to make such objections and for it to be considered by the court. The ministry said it has also noted that the proceedings on the merits of the case will be suspended until the court hears and determines Venezuela's objections. The government will be submitting its own observations in response to the Venezuelan objections. The government of Guyana, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, said it is pleased that Venezuela has joined the proceedings, and it remains confident of the validity of its position on the merits of the case. Let's tell you now that Vice President Bara Jagdeo has moved to the Court of Appeal in yet another bid to overturn the libel judgment against him that went in favor of opposition Member of Parliament and former Housing Minister Annette Ferguson. 2 weeks ago, the full court was unable to reach a unanimous decision on the Vice President's appeal against the default judgment, resulting in the original judgment remaining in place. Attorneys for the Vice President are now heading to the Court of Appeal. In a notice of motion seeking special leave to appeal the full court's decision, Mr. Jagdeo's lawyer, Devendra Kissoon, is arguing that the full court erred in law by failing to recall its divided judgment and reassigning the matter to a bench of the full court consisting of an odd number of judges, given the nature of the judgment, where the two judges ruled differently. Chief Justice Roxanne George had ruled to dismiss the appeal filed by Jagdeo, while Justice Priyasuni Roy Bihari ruled for the matter to continue. Mr. Jagdeo's legal team is arguing that the legal effect of the divided full court judgment upholding the High Court decision is erroneous, since the Chief Justice erred and misdirected herself in law. The Chief Justice had found, among other things, that the Vice President had no real prospect of defending the claim. To further buttress the case, the Vice President's legal team went back to the initial judgment of the court and argued that the judge also erred in law by returning a default judgment against Mr. Jagdeo without considering all the grounds in his draft defense, and questioned the several aspects of the initial ruling, where the judge questioned the explanation of Mr. Jagdeo for not filing his defense. The default judgment was awarded against Jagdeo in March of last year. He failed to file a defense within 28 days of the filing of Ms. Ferguson's statement of claim, which was done in January of 2020. Jagdeo was first represented by the current Attorney General, Anil Nandlal. Scotiabank has announced that the agreement for the sale of its Guyana operations to First Citizens Bank of Trinidad and Tobago has expired, and the agreement has been therefore terminated in keeping with the terms of the agreement. The bank made the announcement this morning in a brief statement from its headquarters. According to the statement, Scotiabank remains committed to providing the highest level of customer service and quality banking solutions to its customers in Guyana and across the Caribbean. The termination of the agreement with First Citizens Bank is the second time that a plan to sell the Guyana operations of the bank has fallen apart. In 2018, a plan by Scotiabank to sell its Guyana operations to Republic Bank was blocked by the Central Bank of Guyana, which was worried that a sale to Republic Bank would have resulted in Republic Bank being in control of more than 50% of all bank deposits in the country and having a greater hold on foreign currency. In 2021, the bank surprisingly announced the sale of its Guyana operations to First Citizens Bank of Trinidad and Tobago. The announcement came before there was any approval from the central bank, and the Guyana government immediately made known its displeasure with the announcement, which it contended was premature. Scotiabank, which is headquartered in Canada, has been moving away from the Caribbean and has been selling out many of its Caribbean operations. A police officer and a mechanic have been arrested in connection with the theft and stripping of a Toyota Premium motor car that belonged to a taxi driver. The car was discovered at the West Demerara Body Workshop after investigators questioned a police rank who is currently on sick leave. A police statement said a taxi driver from Quarantine filed a complaint about being robbed of his car and personal belongings 2 days ago when he was attacked along the Providence Public Road just after his car was hit from behind by another car. The taxi driver explained that when he came out of his car to confront the other driver, he was attacked and relieved of his car and belongings. Acting on information, investigators conducted a search at a mechanic shop in Lagrange on the west coast of Demerara, and that's where several car parts belonging to the stolen taxi were found. The investigation led to the home of the police rank, who took investigators to the body workshop at Canal Number 1, where the stripped car was found already repainted. The police rank and the mechanic from the shop in Lagrange have both been taken into custody and are facing possible charges. The car, which was used to hit the taxi driver's car from behind at Providence, has also been located. It was found at Kurukuru on the Linden-Suslike Highway. The local TikTok star who was arrested after an alleged attempt to ship cocaine out of Guyana in Hindu religious items was today charged for cocaine trafficking and remanded to jail. 23-year-old Lisa Ramnarayan of Hague, West Coast Demerara, appeared at the Georgian Magistrates Court this morning, where the drug trafficking charge was read to her. The court was told that on the 7th of June, at a DHL shipping company in Albertown, Georgetown, the accused attempted to smuggle more than 500 grams of cocaine stashed in Hindu religious ornaments. The young woman denied the allegation and was remanded to jail until the 5th of July, when the matter will come up again before the chief magistrate. The bust was made by the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit after it received information about the suspicious package. The narcotics were found stashed in a hidden compartment of a kanda, which is used for Hindu religious events. The accused is popular on the social media app TikTok, where she has amassed a following of over 60,000 persons who would visit her page to see her trending videos.
Farfan & Mendes is committed to promoting development through quality, service, and integrity. Customers are guaranteed genuine products, reliability, and excellence in service. Their corporate head office at Providence affords you the added convenience of a spacious showroom with secured parking. Farfan & Mendes continues to offer their valued customers a wide range of genuine and affordable German-engineered equipment. They're leading the way in clean, green alternative energy solutions with industry-leading brands of solar equipment. So visit their showroom at Providence and enjoy efficient and courteous service. Farfan & Mendes, offering you solutions you can depend on.
Doors and windows, Republic. Rooms and more, Republic. A brand new rug on the floor. Come to Republic, come to Republic. Whatever you need, you got it. Come through and get your mortgage. Live the dream with Republic.
95 to 100% financing, 50% waiver of negotiation fees, plus one lucky person gets their mortgage paid in full. Turn someday into today. Talk to Republic Bank about your low-cost mortgage today.
Have you heard the news?
The CPL is back.
Yes! The finals coming to Guyana.
Absolutely brilliant.
It's going to be a carnival of cricket.
It's going to be a carnival of cricket.
It's going to be a carnival of cricket.
See you there.
Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, the United States has moved to lift some Trump-era restrictions on remittances and travel to Cuba, even as it fended off criticism for blocking the communist-run island and longtime foe from attending a regional summit this week. The amended regulations set to be published in the U.S. Federal Register today will provide further fine print around the broader easing of U.S. restrictions on Cuba, first announced by the administration of President Joe Biden back in May. A Treasury Department official said publication of the new regulations was purposefully aligned with the U.S.-hosted Summit of the Americas in Los Angeles. The conference was initially conceived as a platform to showcase U.S. leadership and support for Latin America. But that agenda has been partially undermined by a boycott by some regional leaders, upset at Washington's decision to exclude Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua from the meeting. Washington has said it has concerns about human rights and the lack of democracy in those three nations. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown has hinted at a pact between Secretary General of the Commonwealth Patricia Scotland and some African countries within the Commonwealth that could derail Jamaican Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith's challenge for the position of Commonwealth Secretary General. Amid deep canvassing across the Caribbean, Africa and Europe, which has raised several concerns about the cost of Jamaica's campaign to taxpayers, Johnson-Smith fancies her chances of unseating Scotland as high. A successful bid giving Johnson-Smith 4 years at the helm of the Commonwealth would have disrupted the rotation order of the Commonwealth Secretariat's leadership, with Africa originally expected to take over after Scotland's term. The former CARICOM chairman, Antigua's Prime Minister Gaston Brown, had called the Jamaican government's decision to field a candidate for the position a monumental error. Brown's comment was the clearest indication yet that there had been a rift within CARICOM on who should be the Caribbean's candidate, ultimately leading to the consensus that each member state would vote for its candidate of choice at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, which takes place later this month in Rwanda. And finally tonight, international news. People in Thailand can now grow marijuana plants at home and sell the crop after the nation removed marijuana from its banned narcotics list. Thailand is the first to advance such a move in Southeast Asia, a region known for its stringent drug laws. But recreational use is still banned, even though advocates say the easing effectively decriminalizes marijuana. The government is hoping that developing a local cannabis trade will boost agriculture and tourism. It's even giving away 1 million cannabis seedlings to citizens to encourage them to plant the herb. From this week, households in Thailand will be able to cultivate up to 6 marijuana pot plants at home if they register with authorities, and companies can also farm the plant with a permit. Diners will also be able to order cannabis-infused dishes and drinks at restaurants. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.